Do you know that you can own your home in the Lekki Avana Bungalow and Resort Phase 2 via mortgage? The developer of Lekki Avana Bungalow and Resorts has partnered with Imperial Mortgage Bank to provide 100 units of home in the Lekki Avana Bungalow and Resort Phase 2 via mortgage. 5 million naira initial deposits. You can indicate your interest and lock down your home in the Lekki Avana Bungalow and Resort Phase 2 via mortgage. And in addition to that, you have 8 million naira to spread on 12 months payment plan or a 6-month payment plan, which in addition to the first 5 million makes it 13 million, with a total deposit of 13 million naira, first 5 million, the next 8 million naira spread on 12 months. You can own your home, whether it's the 3-bedroom fully detached bungalow or the 3-bedroom fully detached bungalow with swimming pool, or the 4-bedroom fully detached bungalow, or the 4-bedroom fully detached bungalow with swimming pool in the Lekki Avana Phase 2. I'm going to play a video where you get to learn, where you get to know everything, every detail that you need to know about how the mortgage works. Now, on this mortgage, you have 5 years, 10 years, or even 15 years to pay up the mortgage, depending on your age. So I'll need you to stay till the end of this video. Watch the video I'm going to play afterwards now so that you can listen to every little detail that you need to know in case you have been looking to own your home on mortgage. This is for Nigerians living in Nigeria and Nigerians living in the diaspora. Kindly stick till the end of this video and watch this video and also take action, because we have 100 units of homes for this mortgage and some clients have already secured their units. So please watch this video to the very end and also take necessary action after watching this video. Stay with me. Yes, you are welcome to this meeting on how to buy Lekki Avana mortgage. Mr. Femi, you are welcome on board. It's great to be here, and it's great to meet every other person who is here. It's a privilege, I would say, for myself to be here. My team members are also here. Mr. Olateru, who is team lead for mortgages, and I also have the group head of banking operations, Mrs. Omolola Shuna, which is also online. So at some point they would maybe answer some of the questions as well, because I'm not alone, we're a team here. Without wasting time, because there's so many things to be done today and we need to get to business, I would share my screen so that we can start up. Once again, it's great to have everybody here. I will share my screen and we'll be open to hear questions and answer as many as we can. Can everyone confirm that they can see my screen? Let me just know in the chat section if you can see the screen. It's an honor for us to partner with serious companies. We've been in partnership for a long while now, and today is another time that we are partnering on another project again. And Imperial Homes, I don't know how many of you have heard about us, but we used to be called GT Homes, and we were under GT till 2012 when there was a divestment. And ever since then, Imperial Homes has a new management, and we've been on our own as a full mortgage bank. Now we have what is called a national tier mortgage banking license, and this automatically means that we are able to operate in any country, any state in the country, any state within the country. We are one of the 5 banks, mortgage banks, that have this license. Most of the mortgage banks, can only operate within Lagos or operate within the particular state where they find themselves. But for Imperial Homes, we can operate anywhere in the nation. And currently, we have fully operational offices in Lagos. We have offices in Abuja. And then we have sub-offices
in several parts of Nigeria also where we operate from. Now, there are some things you also need to know about us. As a mortgage bank, we're not just a mortgage bank. Everything a commercial bank can do, we have the license to do it. Right? So we operate like a full commercial bank. Forget the fact that there's a mortgage written in our name. We operate like a full commercial bank. Many of you may not know that we have an app on Google Play Store. We have an app. We have internet banking service. So from the comfort of your home, where you are now, if I send you the link, you can open an account without seeing anybody. You can open an account without coming to the bank. You can do so many things. You can do a transfer from your banking app and from your online platform, there from your home where you are. We have ATM cards. We also have POS terminals that we use all across the nation now. So we are more than just a normal mortgage bank, we are a full-blown bank. Now, what is a mortgage? What's a mortgage? I won't assume that every one of us understand what a mortgage is, but I would explain just in brief terms. On my screen, you can see something saying that it's a long-term loan to buy a property, and then the property serves as a collateral. Now, for the sake of better English or very simple English, I'll tell you that a mortgage is as simple as saying, I want to buy a property or I want to buy a house. I've seen a house that I want to buy, and this is the cost. Maybe it's going to cost 50 million naira, and I don't have that money. In this case now, the cheapest house for Havana, Lekki Avana 2, is 65 million, which you're interested in buying. Now, most of your clients or the clients that are here may not have that money. In fact, most of them would not have that money. Just very few people have the money to pay. However, a mortgage, getting the house on a mortgage is saying that this is the amount I have. I have a down payment of 10% or 20% or 30%. And with that amount, you give us that amount. And as a bank, we tell you, move into the house. We buy the property in your name. And then you start living there and paying back the bank while you live in that property. So it's as good as saying, for instance, you're picking a house of 50 million, then you bring out 10 million to show that, look, I want to take a mortgage. You pay the bank the 10 million, the bank buys up the property, and then you move in and you start living there. So mortgage helps you to control a big asset with small funds. Mortgage just helps you control a big asset with small funds. Your funds you have is 10 million naira and you're controlling an asset of 50 million naira. Right? You move in there, you start living there, you don't pay rent anymore. All you're doing is paying the bank till the property becomes fully 100% your own property. So that's what a mortgage is. Simple terms. Now, we have several types of mortgages, but I won't waste time. I'll just go straight to the most important parts. This slide and my next slide are the most important parts of this meeting. Now, in Nigeria today, if you can see my screen, we have several mortgage financing options. I'm going to give you a breakdown of this financing option, the one we're choosing. I'm going to give you a breakdown so that you know how much you're going to pay as for a start, how much you're going to spend, and how many years you're going to spend. Now, if you can see my screen, there are three types of financing options. We have the Imperial Homes, we have MREF, and FHF. So Imperial Homes is the commercial mortgage loan that we give as our own bank. MREF is the mortgage that is given by the Ministry of Finance. And FHF is also by the Ministry of Finance, but it's called Family Homes Funds. Family Homes Funds. Now, these are the quickest and the most dependable and the surest and the fastest ways to get a mortgage in Nigeria today. The maximum tenure for Imperial Homes is 15 years. So that means that if you're taking a mortgage with Imperial Homes, you can pay back within 15 years. For MREF, you can pay back in 20 years. For FHF, you can pay back in 15 years. Now, I'll make something clear. When Mr. Latif was speaking, he was saying that he made it clear that some people want to say they want to do 50 years. You can't do 50 years in Nigeria. Okay, some of us would have died by that time. All right, but 20 years is the max you can do. And that 20 years is subject to your age also. Please listen to this part very clearly. 20 years is subject to your age. Now, mortgage banks would subtract your age from 60 years because we assume that 60 years is the general retirement age for most people. So we've taken 60 years to be the general retirement age. So if you're currently 40 years old, you can take a mortgage of 20 years. So we assume that by 20 years' time, you should be retiring at 60. Okay? If you're currently 45, you can't take 20 years because if you minus 45 from 60, we have just 15 years left for that person to retire. So it means a person of 45 years and take max 15 years mortgage. If you're already 50 years, it means automatically you can only take 10 years of mortgage. And if you are 55, you can obviously just take only 5 years of mortgage. That means you have to pay back within 5 years. However, we give some room to judges, to professors, and basically judges and professors, and sometimes to generals. We give them room of extra 5 years. An extra 5 years. So we subtract 65, their age from 65 years. But for most people, it's basically 60 years minus your age. And that's the maximum tenure you can take. Now, the equity contribution, which is the third row that you see there, you see 30%, 20%, 10%. Now, equity, for those of us maybe who are new to mortgage and who are new to real estate, equity just simply means your down payment. It means your down payment. It's your skin in the game, right? No bank is going to give you a mortgage without you bringing in something, right? No bank will say, come in and stay free of charge. No, you have to pay something. First of all, is your commitment, right? So we call that equity. Now, for Imperial Homes, it's 30%. For MRIF, it's 20%. For FHF, it's 10%. Now, that 10% is minimum, and that 10% is only for government workers. For every other person who is not a government worker, it's 20%. Then the maximum mortgage, which is the fourth line, your fourth row there. The maximum mortgage. Now, if you're taking a loan with Imperial Homes, you can fund as a bank. For MRIF can fund as much as 100 million, and FHF can fund 63 million. 63 million. So if you're looking for a mortgage loan, of over 150, MRIF can't do it for you, FHF can't do it for you, Imperial will do it for you. Alright, but however, whatever mortgage you want to pick, we as a bank will handle the processing for you. So if you're picking FHF, MRIF, or Imperial, the bank, it's our job to process everything for you. Okay, so I'll move to the next slide. I have just 2 more slides. Now, these are some of the requirements that you need. Okay, after this, I'm going to give you the last slide. The last slide is going to break down so many other things, questions that you have. It's going to break down those questions and give you exactly how much you're going to pay. However, once you're ready to pick up your mortgage now, these are things you need to do. Opening an account, right? The link is here on the page. Opening an account with the bank. And then you have to fund your accounts with an initial deposit of about 300,000 naira. Now, this 300,000 is purchase of the form, is your application form, and then for due diligence, that's the most important thing. And most of you will be familiar with the process for property valuation. Right? This is something they're going to do for you. They're going to carry out the property valuation for you. You're going to do your title search. You're going to do the charting. You're going to do credit report on you. We're doing the KYC, we're doing inspection, we're doing all the processing, everything that needs to be done, right? So 300,000 is what you pay into your account, first of all, for that due diligence to be conducted, all right? After which, there's the utility bill, things you're going to submit, your valid ID card, official ID card, the forms. There are several things you're going to submit, several documents you're going to submit, which are on the screen, right? You have your bank statement for a minimum of 12 months, your pay slip. These are things we need to be sure of how much you're earning. I'm going to explain this also when I move further. Right? We need to be sure of how much you're earning also before we can give you a mortgage, because Not everybody in Nigeria can even afford a mortgage. That's the truth. Okay, especially a mortgage, depending on the kind of the price of the house you're interested in. I'm going to explain it once I get to the last slide. Okay, so these are documents that you will need to get and you will need to submit to the bank before you take your mortgage, before your mortgage is approved. Then at the end also, so okay, I broke this broken down into 3 different parts. Now, you have the government side, you have the Imperial Homes Mortgage Bank side, you have the applicant's protection side. Now, on the left-hand side, you can see the government side. Now, what the government wants from you is a title perfection must be done. You must do the title perfection, which we will do for you, right? There's the legal mortgage cost, there's the survey plan, if it's applicable. Then there's the payment of stamp duty, okay, which is 0.37% of the total loan amount. Right, and then even in any case, government says there are tax, there's this tax, the government will let us know, and then you pay that tax also. That's one. Now, for we as a company, we have our own charges are the management fee 1% of the loan amount, and the mortgage advisory fee is 1% also of the loan amount, and then the account maintenance charge, which is 1 naira per every million, just 1 naira per every million. So our own charges are very limited because we are managing the account for you, we are managing the mortgage for you, and we are doing a whole lot of processing for you. Then for your own side, on the extreme right end, you see applicant protection, property insurance one, credit life insurance, credit life loans. Now, this is to you. Credit life insurance is taken in the God forbid you're taking the mortgage and your mortgage is lasting 10 years, for instance. Please listen carefully. The mortgage lasts 10 years, for instance, and then the person taking the mortgage dies after 2 years and he hasn't paid back completely. He hasn't paid back the remaining 8 years and is living in the house. Now, because you have taken the mandatory life insurance, the insurance company will kick in and then they would hand over the house to your next of kin. Your next of kin will not pay a dime again because you have taken a credit life insurance. Your next of kin will move into the house and the house becomes theirs automatically. The insurance company will write off the loan completely. That person has taken a life insurance and the person unfortunately has died. Okay, I hope that's clear. That's what the credit life insurance does. Now, job loss, credit life with job loss. Now, job loss in the event whereby you're paying back your mortgage and then you're paying back, let's say you're paying back 200,000 every month, then God forbid you lose your job. Job loss insurance will make sure that for the next 6 months, you're covered. Nobody's going to ask you to pay anything because we expect that. We know that you don't have any job currently. So the job loss insurance would cover you for about 6 months. Okay, after which we expect that you should have gotten another job, and then you can now continue paying your mortgage loan back to bank. All right, so the government has made it easy so that you don't have to kill yourself while taking a mortgage. Now, this is the final and the most important part that I'm going to break down for every one of us, and I want us to be very attentive because this is the part that concerns you practically now. I'm just going to pick out one slide, one of the columns, one of the columns, the first column. So you see, this is the repayment breakdown. The property price for Lekki Avana, the cheapest we have there is the 65 million naira house, which is a 3-bedroom without a swimming pool. Okay, and this is what we're using as our benchmark. So 65 million. Now, your equity contribution. Remember, I mentioned that equity contribution is your down payment. Equity contribution is your down payment. Now, what is expected of you, because we're going to be running with Emric platform, the Emric platform, what you're supposed to pay as down payment is 13 million. That's 20% of the price of the house. 20% of the price of the house, which is 13 million naira only. That's what you're supposed to pay to move in and pick a mortgage. Okay. The third rule now says initial deposits. Now, Zelos has told us that we need to come up with 5 million naira each, right? And his fastest fingers is the first person to pay their 5 million naira that is able to show a form of commitment to say, I'm ready to pick up this house, right? So you're going to pay 5 million naira first of all as initial deposit to Zelos. However, that money is not enough to take the mortgage. Okay, so if you've understood what I explained earlier on, to take a mortgage, you need that 20% initial deposit, complete 20%. Okay, and then you can now move in to take the mortgage. Now, your initial deposit of 5 million is to show that I am committing myself to this. This is what I'm picking. I'm interested in this house and allocate one to me now. That's what your 5 million does. Okay. But when you pay the 5 million, you still have an 8 million outstanding to pay before you move into the house. Okay. You have an outstanding 8 million naira to pay to move into the house. That's why you see the balance there, 8 million naira. Okay. Now, there's something, once you pay your 5 million, the 8 million naira, you can pay it off. Zelos is allowing us 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months for you to pay off that remaining balance of 8 million naira. Okay, so you choose the 8 million naira balance. Am I paying it off in 6 months? Am I paying off in 9 months? Am I paying off in 12 months? So that's up to you. Okay, now if you're going to pay off in 6 months, I believe you can see my screen. If you're going to pay off in 6 months, you will find out that just below it, there's something called monthly home vest savings. Okay, you're paying back the bank now the sum of 1.33 million per month. Okay, so if you start paying 1.33 million per month, in 6 months you're done paying your equity completely, and then Zelos tells you move into the house. Okay, so if you can pay 1.3 million per month, 6 months, you're moving into the house with Zelos. If you're going to pay in 9 months, for instance, you can't pay in 6 months, and you're going to pay in 9 months, you would have to pay about 890,000 naira. 890,000 naira to be able to move into the house. Okay, 890,000 for 9 months. For 9 months, 890 to balance and move into the house. Now, if you're going to pay back in 12 months, because you can't pay in 6 months or 9 months, you have to pay 666,000 naira per month to be able to move into the house. So if you're paying in 12 months and you're paying 666,000 per month unfailingly, you would have hit 8 million in 1 year. And then Zelos would say, move into the house and then start paying your mortgage loan gradually. Now, you don't need to wait till you have the full to start saving 600,000, 800,000 or this or this. If you have the money, put it in advance also. Okay, put it in advance so it saves you a whole lot in the long run. Now, the next row there, you can see mortgage amounts. Now, mortgage amount is 52 million. Why 52 million? Because you're minusing the amount of the house, which is 65 million, right? The house you want to pick 65 million, minus your own equity contribution of 13 million. Okay, how did I get the 13 million? Your initial deposit, like I mentioned, is your 5 million, right? That you bring to show your commitment to the house, right? Then the 8 million is added to it, making 13 million, which is your 20% down payment to get the mortgage. So once your 13 million is complete, you move to the house, right? Now, what they're giving you as a bank, once you move into the house, the bank is giving you 52 million as a mortgage loan. 52 million as your loan that you'll be paying back once you get into the house, so that you can finish paying up the balance of your house, 65 million naira. Now, this is the interesting part. If you're paying back, now you have a choice. If you see that point that shows a mortgage tenor, you see the option of 5 years, the option of 10 years, and the option of 15 years to pay back. So like I mentioned before, it depends on your age one, and it's also a factor of the amount you have that you can pay on a monthly basis back. Right? This part is very important, so I need you to listen very clearly. All right, so under mortgage tenor, you can see the option of paying back in 5 years, option of paying back in 10 years, and option of paying back in 15 years. Okay. Now, if you're paying back your 52 million in 5 years, what you're paying the bank a month on an interest rate of 9.75%, all right? It's not just paying back without an interest rate. Everybody that gives you a loan gets you pay an interest rate for that. So on the lowest interest rate you can get, which is 9.75, okay, they're not giving you the commercial interest rate, which is 30%. They're giving you the 9.75%. So what you're going to be paying back, if you're paying back in 5 years, per month, you're going to be paying back 1.1 million, 1,098,000 naira per month for 5 years. Okay, to be able to finish paying off your loan in 5 years. If you can't do it in 5 years, it's fine. Okay, because most people in Nigeria cannot do that in 5 years. If you can do it in 10 years, right, what you're going to be paying back, if you can look at the slide properly well, is 680,000 naira every month for 10 years. 680,000 naira every month for 10 years. Okay, before the house becomes fully 100% your own, not shared with the bank. Currently, the bank is sharing ownership with you on the house because they have a larger stake in it, but you live in the house. All right, but you have your equity. The house belongs to you, but it belongs to you partly, it belongs to us partly. All right, so by the time you finish paying off your loan, your mortgage loan, the house becomes yours 100%. Now, if you can't pay back in 5 years and you can't pay back in 10 years, you can pay back in max 15 years, also depending on your age. Remember, I said it's a function of your age. And if you're paying back in 15 years, what you're paying per month, what you're paying is 550,000 naira per month. Okay, approximately 550,000 per month unfailingly for 15 years. Okay, now you can see the mortgage repayment. I'm going to mention something which is very important. I mentioned that your tenure that you can pay depends on your age. If you were listening to me earlier on, for those who were there, so I said if your age is 40 years, we minus it from 60. Okay, if you're from 45 years, if you're 45 for instance, or less than 45, you can take 15 years comfortably. Okay, 60 minus 45, you can take 15 years comfortably. If you're already 50, you can only take 10 years mortgage. If you're 55, you can only take 5 years mortgage. Okay, so you can use that to gauge how many years mortgage you can take. You also have the money to pay for 5 years, pay in 5 years back. You can take that. All right, even if you're 40 years old or you're 30 years old, if you want to pay back in 5 years and you have 1.1 million to pay per month, you can do that. All right, now, the monthly repayment that is there, it's also a function of something. As a rule, in the mortgage sector, what you pay back, your repayment, is 1/3. It can't be more than 1/3 of your income. It can't be more than 1/3 of your income. Now, let me explain that properly well. If, for instance, you earn 300,000 naira per month, for instance, what you can pay on a mortgage, what they're going to charge, what they're going to take from you on a monthly basis, is not going to exceed 100,000 naira out of that 300,000. Okay, if you're earning 300,000, you're not going to take more than 100,000 from you. If you're earning 3 million, you can't take more than 1 million naira from you on a monthly payment. Okay, and reason is that there are so many other expenses that you have. The economy is hitting hard. You have to feed, you have to pay for so many other things. Okay, so as a rule, we will not take more than 1/3 of your income, your salary or your business earnings. Okay, however, you have the opportunity to co-borrow with somebody else. Okay, co-borrow means that somebody else is also paying for that mortgage with you. Now, there's something we do when you start paying for the mortgage. We set a direct debit on your account. So every month, once your salary comes in, or once your business funds come in, at a particular day of the month, we deduct that particular amount that you said we should deduct from you. It comes out automatically. So if, for instance, let's use the table. If you, for instance, you're paying 15 years and you're paying back 550,000 every month, right? For you to pay 550,000 every month means that you should be earning at least 1.5 to 1.6 million per month. Okay, 1.5 to 1.6 million per month. If you're not earning up to that, what we can do is, for instance, you're earning 1 million. We can take out 1/3 of 1 million, which is 333,000 from you every month. And then the balance of maybe 220 that is remaining, maybe your spouse, for instance, you can say, okay, deduct this from my spouse's account. Okay, 220, the balance of it, deduct it from my spouse's account, or deduct it from my friend's account, or from my mom's account, or from this account, or my child's account. Okay, so that you can complete the payment. All right, so it's not difficult to get the mortgage once you have a Kubura. All right, so that's how it works. Now, the bottom part, which is the last part I'll talk about before we take questions, you will see the total loan repayment. So at the end of your payment, you're supposed to, if you're paying in 5 years, okay, if you can see my screen, you're paying in 5 years, you would have paid back 65.9 million naira back to us. That's with the interest rate involved, adding the interest rates. Okay, so adding to that is your 13 million equity repayment, and then you would have paid the total, your commitment totally would have been 78.9 million. And you would have paid after 5 years. After 5 years, 78.9 million. However, the good thing is that if you look at what is in red, that point in red, you can see 130 million naira, right? That's the future value of this property you're buying in the next 5 years. What you're buying now at 65 million naira, in the next 5 years, it cannot be less than 130. 130 is even the minimum. If you look at Lekki Avana, the fees, one of it, in 3 years, or was it 2 to 3 years, the price had doubled. The value of that property had doubled in 2 to 3 years. That's Lekki Avana 1 that people bought. Now you are buying the Lekki Avana 2. In 3 years, 2 to 3 years, it's going to be over 130 million. I'm just even saying in 5 years, it's going to be 130. But it's actually going to be far more than what you're seeing now, the cost of this. All right, it's going to be far more than what you're seeing now. So you would have paid 78 million naira for the property you're living in. And if you want to sell it at that time, you won't sell it for a minimum, or you won't sell it for less than 131 million. So you can find out that that's a good deal. A very, very good deal. All right. If you're also paying back in 10 years, you're paying back in 10 years. If you look at that bottom to the second to the last slide there, the second to the last row, if you're paying back in 10 years, what you'd have paid is 94 million over 10 years. 10 years, just patiently paying it up, patiently paying while you're living in the house. After 10 years, you'd have paid 94 million. 94 million will not make sense in 10 years' time because of inflation. 94 million will not, it will just be worth maybe 30 million naira or less in 10 years' time because of inflation. Right? But by that time, the house would have been worth minimum 262 million naira. That same house that you're living in, that you bought at 65 million, that you paid off at 65 million, would have been worth over 262 minimum. It can never be less than that. Never. Not in real estate in Nigeria. Okay? And in the next 15 years, it can't be less than 528 million. It can't be less than 528 million. I thank God that most of you are property developers here, so you understand how property appreciates in Nigeria. Okay, so I will just round up by saying this is a good opportunity, and we need to encourage people. The houses are there, and I'll tell you the truth. There's serious urbanization going on. A lot of people are leaving their villages and they are coming to Lagos, and there are no houses in Lagos anymore. So you find out that many places are expanding. That's why we have where Lekki Avana is. We have Lekki Avana 2 expanding. There's so many places expanding, so many places, because there is scarcity of house, and houses and property will keep being on the rise. The prices will keep going up. We did a research as a bank. We checked Magodo Estate, for instance. Magodo, in the 1990s, if you're going to get a house in Magodo, you would have gotten a 3-bedroom. This same 3-bedroom you're getting at 65 million. In Magodo, you would have gotten it at about 1.2 million, fully built, 1.2 million in the 90s. Okay, and then in 2005, it had moved up to 10 million, between 10 and 12 million. It had gone almost times 10 the price in 10 years. And then in 2015, it had gone up to 45 million. Now, in 2025, our current year now, if you want to get a 3-bedroom in Magodo, all of you know the price. It's between 120 to 180 million, fully built. 180 million. the least you ever find maybe is 120 million in Magodo currently. All right, so you can see how the prices are going up. So in the next 10 years, you don't know what's going to happen there. Now, the same price that you can get 120, 180 million Magodo, you're getting a 3-bedroom in Lekki Avana phase 2 at 65 million now, which is going to appreciate in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And it's your property for life. It's your property for life. So with mortgage, you can get this very easy. You have a chance to own this big asset at a very low price. All right, so that's what I will say for now, and I'll hand over to Mr. Latif, and then any questions that we have, my team can also answer the questions. Thank you so much for listening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Femi James. This is a full package. Of course, I've seen so many comments about your analysis. Somebody said he or she likes your analysis. However, there's no how we'll have this session and there won't be questions. We have several questions on this. Once again, we want to appreciate Imperial Mortgage Bank. And for this one, of course, many people are excited to have you. And clarity has shown on your pitch. But there are questions for you. I'm sure that you are not the only one here. We have your team here to answer these questions. Okay, I'll start from the one I have on the chat box. Let me ask this. Somebody asks, Diaspora client eligible to take this loan? I mean, this mortgage plan. Let me start from there, Mr. Femi. What is the requirement?
So I would say, yes, Diaspora clients are eligible. All they need is their BVN and NIN. You just need to be sure they have a BVN and they also have an NIN, because it's a Nigerian mortgage. We need to be sure you're a Nigerian. We don't want to be seen as a non-Nigerian in diaspora who is trying to take a mortgage in Nigeria. So we need to be sure that you're a Nigerian. Your BVN and your NIN is what we will need for the to take a mortgage as a diaspora client.